You ever see a moment that just stops you cold? That makes you question everything you thought you knew? Yeah, that happened to a guy named Richard one night on a fancy cobblestone street where the rich come to show off. Richard sat across from his 6-year-old son, Nathan, a kid who'd never stood, never walked, trapped in a wheelchair since birth. The clinking of cutlery and quiet chatter around them felt miles away from the storm brewing inside Richard's heart. "Come on, Nathan," Richard said, trying to sound gentle as he nudged a plate of pasta toward his son. "Just take a few bites for me." But Nathan's big blue eyes didn't even flicker toward the food. His thin legs lay lifeless, a constant reminder that no amount of money or doctors had changed his fate. Richard had spent a fortune chasing miracles, specialists, therapies, experimental treatments, 30 experts across 5 countries telling him the same thing: your boy might never walk. But Richard refused to believe it. That night, Richard's hand trembled as he lifted his wine glass, not from cold, but from the gnawing fear deep in his gut. All his wealth and power felt useless against this one cruel truth. Then, out of nowhere, a shadow appeared beside their table. A small girl no older than Nathan, wearing a dirty, torn hoodie, her face smudged with grime, braids tied with string that looked like it barely held together. She looked at the plate in front of Nathan, eyes burning with hunger. Then she asked something so unexpected it made Richard freeze. "Sir, if I make your son walk, will you give me food?" Richard laughed, bitter, sharp, the kind of laugh that cuts more than it heals. You're filthy and starving, and you think you can do what doctors couldn't." Nathan flinched at his father's tone, but the girl didn't back down. Barefoot on the cold stones, she whispered, "I can do it. Just let me try, please." People nearby started to stare, sensing something strange. Richard waved dismissively. "This boy has the best care money can buy. You think some street urchin can fix him?" But then Nathan spoke, soft but clear. "Dad, let her try." Richard's heart skipped. Was it the wine? Exhaustion? Something broke inside him when he saw the hope shining in his son's eyes. "Fine," he muttered. "Go ahead and fail." The girl knelt by Nathan's wheelchair, hands trembling as she reached for his cold legs. "Can I touch them?" she asked. Nathan nodded, eyes wide. "Close your eyes," she whispered, "and listen to me. Your legs aren't weak, they're just asleep. Let's wake them up together." Nathan clenched the armrests, concentrating hard. "Push down with your feet," she urged softly. Richard crossed his arms, watching with a mix of impatience and disbelief. What a waste of time. "But then, Dad," Nathan gasped, toes twitching. Again and again. This time, Richard saw it clearly. Frozen as his wine glass slipped from his hand, shattering on the cobblestones. "Did you see that?" he whispered hoarsely. The girl nodded, eyes fixed on Nathan's legs. "He's listening. His body wants to move, but his mind's scared. We have to tell him it's okay." Richard blinked, trying to grasp what was happening. How? How is this possible?" The girl looked up at him, calm and certain. "I used to help my brother. He got hurt bad in an accident, and doctors said he'd never walk again. But an old woman in my village taught me how to wake up his legs. We massaged his muscles, moved his joints, whispered to his spirit. It took months, but he stood." Richard's skepticism melted into something else. "Aw, can you lift him?" she asked. He hesitated, then gently lifted Nathan from the chair. "Hold him steady," she said. "Let his feet touch the ground." Nathan's legs wobbled, the cold stone biting at his trembling feet. Clinging tightly to his father's shirt, fear almost swallowed him. "I can't. I'll fall." "Yes, you can," the girl whispered, placing her dirt-streaked hands on his knees. "Remember? Your legs just slept too long. Tell them to wake up." "Wake up," Nathan said faintly. "Say it louder. Wake up." And then, like a miracle he never dared hope for, Nathan's legs stiffened, pressing shakily but firmly against the ground. Richard felt his son's weight shift. For the first time ever, Nathan stood. "You're doing it," the girl whispered. Nathan's lips trembled. Voice small but proud, "Daddy, I'm standing." Tears blurred Richard's vision as he dropped to his knees, wrapping arms around Nathan. "You're standing? Really standing?" The girl stepped back quietly, watching the reunion. "How did you know to do this?" Richard asked, awestruck. She shrugged, wiping a tear from her cheek. "Someone helped my brother when no one else would. I just wanted to do the same." Richard reached into his pocket, pulling out a wad of cash. Take it. Take all of it. But she shook her head. I didn't do it for money. I just wanted some food. Richard stared, speechless, then looked at Nathan, still shaky but standing tall. Do you have parents? Her eyes darkened. Not anymore. I lost them in the flood. It took my whole family, even my brother. Then come with us, Richard said, voice gentle. You saved my son's life. Let me save yours. Nathan looked up, still holding tight to his dad's shirt. Can she stay with us, Dad? Richard smiled through tears. Yes, son. She can stay as long as she wants. That night, the three sat around a warm kitchen table. Nathan held a spoon, legs dangling from a chair, no wheelchair in sight. The girl's face glowed clean and bright. You're like my sister now, Nathan said softly. She smiled for the first time. And you're like my brother. Richard watched them, heart full in a way money never bought. He realized then that all the riches in the world couldn't give him what this broken, hungry girl had, hope. And with her quiet strength, he found something even more precious, family. So, what do you think? Was it a miracle? A coincidence? Or just the power of belief when everything else fails? Drop your thoughts below. I want to know where you stand on this. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story if it moved you. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep watching. The next morning, sunlight filtered softly through the trees, waking a usually bustling street now quiet in the wake of something extraordinary. Nathan stood there, steadier with every passing moment, his hand clutching Lily's, the scrappy little girl who had walked into their lives like an unexpected miracle. Richard sat silently by the window, watching the two kids with a mix of hope and worry he hadn't felt in years. He knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy. Honestly, part of him still doubted Lily's gift. But something deeper than money or doubt had begun to stir inside him, a fragile but powerful hope. Lily, still wearing that torn hoodie, smiled gently but seriously at Nathan. This is just the beginning. You have to practice every day, no skipping. You can do this. Nathan's eyes shone with trust he'd never shown before. You'll help me, right? She nodded, determination bright in her gaze. I promise. But it wasn't always smooth sailing. Richard noticed a shift in Lily. She wasn't just the poor street kid anymore. She carried a weight far heavier than her years. Sometimes, late at night, he'd catch her staring out into the darkness, her small hands trembling. There were stories she never shared. The loss of her family in a flood, the nights spent worrying over her brother, the loneliness she'd hidden away. One afternoon, Richard found her sitting on the balcony, eyes distant. Lily, are you okay? He asked softly. She looked back, tears glistening but her voice steady. I'm fine. Just missing home. Missing my brother. He taught me how not to give up. Richard said nothing, simply sat beside her. Sometimes silence says more than words. Then came the unexpected setback. One day, Nathan tried to stand without Lily's help and suddenly fell, crying out in pain. Richard rushed over, panic and frustration boiling over. Why did you risk that? You could have hurt yourself. Nathan struggled to his feet, wiping tears mixed with sweat. I have to try, Dad. I want to stand on my own. Today, tomorrow, always. Lily hurried over, steadying him and whispering. You did great. Next time, I'll be right there. Watching them, Richard realized strength wasn't just muscle or technique. It was love, trust, and sheer willpower. Things he hadn't known how to give Nathan, but Lily brought naturally. Weeks passed, and Nathan took more and more steps on his own. Richard hired a physical therapist, but strangely, the biggest progress came from Lily's persistence and the encouragement she gave Nathan, not the expensive treatments. Word spread through the neighborhood, and where once people sneered or ignored Lily, now they looked on with respect. Volunteers and donors came forward, bringing food, clothes, help. But Lily only accepted what she truly needed. Never more. Richard himself began to change. He opened his heart and his time, no longer just throwing money at problems, but learning how to be a father who truly cared. He saw that love and attention were the greatest gifts he could give. Then, one unforgettable day, Nathan stood firmly in the backyard, walking without assistance. Richard and Lily stood nearby, tears brimming in their eyes. You did it, Lily whispered. Nathan's voice trembled with pride. Daddy, I'm standing. Richard dropped to his knees, holding Nathan close. You're really standing? Lily stepped back quietly, watching the moment unfold. How did you know what to do? Richard asked her, still amazed. She shrugged, wiping a tear. Someone helped my brother when no one else would. I just wanted to do the same. Richard pulled out a thick wad of cash. Take it. All of it. But Lily shook her head. I didn't do this for money. I only wanted some food. Richard was speechless, then glanced at Nathan, still trembling but standing tall. Do you have any family? Her eyes darkened. No. The flood took everyone. Even my brother. Then come live with us, Richard said softly. You saved my son's life. Let me save yours. Nathan looked up, clutching his father's shirt. Can she stay with us, Dad? Richard smiled through tears. Yes, son. She can stay as long as she wants. That night, the three of them sat around a warm kitchen table. Nathan held a spoon, his legs swinging from a chair, no wheelchair in sight. Lily's face shone clean and bright for the first time in a long while. You're like my sister now, Nathan said quietly. She smiled back. And you're like my brother. Richard watched them with a full heart, realizing that no amount of money could buy what this broken, hungry girl had given him: hope. And in her quiet strength, he found something even more precious: family. But the story doesn't end there. Lily's past shadows linger, and Richard knows helping Nathan was just the first step on a much longer journey. He made a choice that night to adopt Lily, not as a charity case or a helper, but as his daughter, a real part of their family. The final scene unfolds with the three of them standing hand in hand by a large window, gazing out over the city bathed in golden sunset. A portrait of hope, unity, and new beginnings. But the question remains, is the world ready to open its arms to children like Lily? How many miracles like this go unnoticed every day? So what do you think? Is this a true miracle, coincidence, or just the power of belief when everything else fails? Drop your thoughts below. I want to hear where you stand. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if this story moved you. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep watching.